water that we're drinking, and how pure is the water that we pick up every day and throw down our throats?
Yeah, I'll take an example. Like in London, most people they don't drink tap water, because the tap water here, people you might be drinking water from the Thames, and it's well polluted. And if it's not polluted, if they try to purify it, there's so much sulfur and so much chemicals that they put just to purify it, just to kill all maybe germs that you find in there. But the chemical that you take in, and there's so much industry in this city, so much that you can easily get cancer just by drinking the water from the tap. But if I go back to Africa now, where I grew up.
Whereabouts in Africa?
I grew up in the eastern border highlands of Zimbabwe. There we've got mountain rivers. In other words, the water is purified just by falling from the top of the mountain into a stream. That purifies, that naturally purifies the water. So that's the difference. I mean, that's the difference. In a big city, the water is purified. But if you live in the countryside will have the purest of waters. That's why I find that even here in England, where you can find fresh fish, you find it in the countryside. You cannot eat fish that you fish in Thames. You've got to fish it and throw it back again. So it becomes only a sport. You don't have to eat that fish.
Our bodies are so acidic. There is not enough alkaline in our bodies. I understand that we should have a pH of 7.3.
True.
And I know the water that most people are drinking, if it's bottled water, has a pH of less than 2. I am on a campaign to raise an awareness of good living, good eating, good drinking, and what constitutes good water in particular. Having an alkaline levels of 7.3 and above, for me, constitute good water. What kind of water is that? That's water that's oxygenated, that's water that's alkaline, that's water that has been structured. That's the kind of water. And I guess for many people, it's not that easy to get access to that kind of water, because it means having certain instruments in your home. But there are some simple little steps that we can take, that you can take, to change the way we put water, food into our body.
It's true.
Yeah?
Yes.
And that is what I'm going to talk about on another video, because I think that needs a bit more time to expand on. But you're going to say something anyway.
I just wanted to mention why water is important. Why water is important in a human body, because a higher percentage, I would take up three quarters of a human's body actually is made up of water. So if you're trying to replace the water that you lose in your everyday activity, and you're replacing it with contaminated water, you're actually destroying the temple, which is your body. So the importance of water water actually requires a subject on its own. It requires a total campaign, a year-long campaign of educating people on the usage of water, why water is important. Even today, I've got certain organizations that I work with that go into Africa and try and they raise so much money to go and try and purify water in Africa, just to avoid the waterborne diseases that certain people they're drinking water that is not clean at all. But these are places where, poverty places like Somalia, where there's war and there's no chance to harness pure water. But there's still people in the world who still die of waterborne disease.
I think
it's a terrible situation.
Yeah. This is really a time for us to really take into consideration our health at a superior level now. There's so much being done to bring about our destruction. And if we take little steps to empower ourselves, to find out what's in our food, what's in our water, what is it doing to us, all the detrimental effects it has on us, on the communities.
Yeah.
We can reverse a lot of this.
Definitely, there has to be a change in mentality, especially amongst governments in the third world, especially in the third world countries or industrialized countries as well. Because in the third world countries, it's merely just poverty. Because there's no industries there for them to pour any chemicals into rivers and streams, except where there's a lot of mining. I know in Africa today there's a lot of people going there to mine, and what they do, all the cyanide and everything that comes out of the mine, trying to purify gold and everything, it goes into the river stream, and then it pollutes vast amounts of water along the way. But in developed countries, it's the industry. Too much industry. It's what is killing or impurifying the water. That's why we are buying water now. We have to buy water in the shops. And water is a natural resource that you've got to have it anywhere where you'd like to have it.
But here's the irony of it. Mm-hmm. The water that we're buying from the shop is bottled tapped water. And we're handing over our good money for...
But if you see that, they'll tell that it's spring water. Spring water is supposed to come from the mountains.
Supposed to?
Yeah, from springs. But it's a commercial world, isn't it? Anyone can label anything and tell you that it's purified water, but it's a belief in people's minds that it's purified water, but no one has ever proved. But it has been proved before that there's companies that actually sell tapped water.
Absolutely. And it's like raising that level of awareness now. There are a lot of companies on the market now who provide alkaline water or alkaline drops to make your water alkaline. And when I speak to some people who've been drinking the alkaline water, they talk about a different feeling of exuberance. They feel vitalized, they feel energized, they feel full of life.
Yeah.
And that's what's missing in our bodies. We're missing the essential minerals, ions, and a lot of it is lost through the liquids which we're putting in our bodies. Take, for example, those fizzy drinks. Just one can of fizzy drink, you're going to need to drink at least 36 glasses of alkaline water to reverse the damage that one tin of fizzy drink does to your body.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's really terrible. Yeah.
So why, I ask the question, are we giving our children fizzy drinks? Why are we slowly killing our children?
Yeah, I've actually been amazed how actually kids here in London, I've seen a documentary, kids getting addicted to fizzy drinks. If you give him pure orange, he or she will never drink it. But what they want actually is Coca-Cola and 7-Up but they get used to a cheap, quick life in a big city. That if I was in the country in Africa, I'll be eating oranges, organic oranges, just from these fruits. You enjoy organic food, organic fruits. And if you don't have, if you have to go to a store to buy a Coca-Cola, you've got to go 70 miles. You can't do that. So it's the developed world. The developed world is got its own distractions in our body, because whatever is produced or is being promoted, highly promoted, like Coca-Cola is it's a big company. Coca-Cola is a very big company, and doing a lot of advertising, encouraging people to take so much sugars and everything, and that's what is affecting our bodies long term. I know of people that actually can do a 2-liter bottle of Coke in one sitting, so which is terrible. And then the kids, they see that and they copy that. And then which means their bodies or their health is destroyed in early stages of their lives. Which is a shame. And no one is stopping that.